Hello students, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for your participation in the different activities in our class so far. Thank you for taking the exam last week. A couple of you emailed me with some questions about being able to get in. If for some reason you're still having problems with that, let me know. I know that if you got out of it, it kind of closed out and you only had that one chance to take that test, and you asked to see if you could get back in. If you need me to check on that, let me know. Feel free to call, email, send me a message, and I'll see what I can do about that to make sure you can get in to take that exam. As we move into the next little phase of our course, I want us to look at how teachers work together. It seems that for years, teachers have looked at their individual classrooms and they have made lesson plans and taught those lesson plans and moved on to the next subject and things like that. And that's changing. The way we do business in school is changing these days. And a current trend in education is what we call a professional learning community. And this week I want us to look at how are teachers working together, how are they collaborating with one another to make sure that we're meeting the needs of all of our students. And I mentioned that term professional learning community, and that is a term that in the education world I think is often misunderstood. A lot of teachers and educators think that a professional learning community is just another time for a meeting where teachers come together for a meeting and we call it a professional learning community. But a true PLC is more than that. It's a time where teachers come together and they really look at three critical questions as they come together as a group. A lot of times these professional learning communities might be a group of kindergarten teachers, or it might be a group of kindergarten through second grade teachers, or a group of fifth grade teachers, a group of art teachers getting together. And they really focus their attention on three critical questions. And those questions are, what do we want each student to learn? As these teachers come together, they look at what's coming up in the next few weeks, and maybe by the end of this unit, maybe by the end of this time period, what is it that we want our students to know and to be able to do? What do we expect that they will learn through our teaching? Then the second question is, how are we going to know that they learned it? Okay, if at the end of 3 weeks of me teaching a unit on fractions, how am I going to know my students have learned it? What assessments do I need if to know whether they've learned it or not? Okay, and then the third question is going to be, how am I going to respond to students that maybe had struggled with learning that material, or what am I going to do for students that already know that material? Okay, so looking at those three questions, what do I want students to learn? How am I going to know the student has learned it? And then third, how am I going to respond to the different learning needs of our students? And those are very critical questions that we need to have when we meet as a group of teachers. We need to ensure that all students learn, that not just, well, I've taught it, and after I've taught this material, it was up to them to learn it. No, how am I going to make sure everybody learned it? Do I need to provide extra intervention, extra support to make sure my students are learning? We also need to make sure that in this culture of collaboration that we see that they're not just my students in my classroom. If I work with a grade level of teachers, they're our students. That if I'm stronger in teaching math, then maybe I need to be working with the students that are struggling in math to help support them and bring them up, whereas another teacher might be stronger in teaching a different area. So how can I collaborate and work with other teachers to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our students? And that's a school culture that we need to address. Okay, and then focusing on results. Are we going to be very data driven? How am I using assessments to make sure that I know whether my students are learning the material that I need them to? I want to focus on those results and then make decisions for, do I need extra support, or do I need to move on and enrich my students? Okay, that's just a quick overview of a professional learning community. This week you're going to read an article in our course text, and then you're going to watch a few videos by one of the experts in the field on professional learning communities, Rick Dufour. Make sure to check our Blackboard, look at all the different activities for this week, and make sure you do each of the components. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email, and we'll do what we can. Thank you.